going to go again into the history of professional wrestling, what brought it to the level it is today. Names from the past, most of these tapes today are from the mid-70s. Dusty Rhodes, the Mongolian Stomper, Don Muraco, Joe LeDuc, just names that are legendary in our profession today. And these are all videos that have never been seen before. For your eyes only, here they are. Volume 2, Classic Championship Wrestling. Let's take a look right now at Don Muraco wrestling the Mongolian Stomper. And in this match is from 1974. You're going to see the classic manager, Gary Hart, that was in a plane accident with Bobby Shane when he passed away. But anyway, this is after the accident. Gary's back, he's managing, and you're going to also see Dusty Rhodes, and you're going to see Cowboy Bill Watts, you're going to see the Ninja, you're going to see all kinds of names in this one particular match, and how one match leads into another match when people try to take advantage of situations. So let's take a look right now at Don Muraco and the Mongolian Stomper.
Don Muraco moving out against the Mongolian Stomper. Muraco with a slightly injured shoulder, bandaged in this match. It was the Stomper who just a week preceding this attacked Muraco after a match was over. Muraco wants to settle the score, keeping him in a side headlock now. Muraco from Hawaii, 238 pounds. The Stomper from Outer Mongolia, 275 pounds. Caught with a good shoulder smash, caught with another good shoulder smash. And Muraco beginning to wreak some of that vengeance that he wanted. Muraco now starts that avalanche procedure on the Stomper, and realizing that this is the strong suit of the Mongolian Stomper. That's where he achieved the name and the reputation. And Muraco trying to hurt those legs if he can. Spinning toe hold, and Gary Hart moving in, and Muraco catches him. The Stomper tried to sandbag him. That time he caught him with an elbow, and now moves in again with that avalanche. Gary Hart, the leader of Hart's Army, outside the ring, and again that spinning toe hold, and again broken up. And this time Muraco crashes into Gary Hart, stunning him. Hart was just trying to get into the ring. The Stomper on his feet very slowly, nursing that leg now. Stomper catching Don Muraco from behind. Catching Muraco again. Referee watching carefully. Here's where Muraco reverses on the Stomper, catches him, spears him, a good backflip. Muraco moves again, a flying drop kick that drives the Mongolian Stomper to the canvas. Gary Hart outside that ring still nursing a sore head, and Don Muraco missing a flying drop kick. And now the Stomper moving rather methodically, and watch. Muraco hurtle into the turnbuckles. One leg hooked now and trapped. And the Stomper now beginning to drive those big boots into the head of Don Muraco. The referee trying to stop him now, trying to free him. The Stomper keeps on methodically, slowly smashing away at the head of Don Muraco. Muraco in an upside-down position, helpless position at this time, caught in the midsection by the Stomper. The Stomper again across the face into the head of Don Muraco. Muraco badly dazed and stunned at this point. The Stomper brings him up, a pile driver. The entire central nervous system jarred that time. The vertebrae all jammed in a backward position, and the count of 3, and the Mongolian Stomper is successful in defeating Don Muraco. And here the Stomper still not satisfied. That sadistic mean streak coming out in the Stomper now. Has his man the helpless position. Gary Hart blocking the referee who's trying to stop this carnage. The Stomper still after him, but now suddenly the crowd is electrified as here comes Dusty Rhodes. He was due to wrestle next to defend his Florida Heavyweight Championship, and he's in that ring. He has a lot of respect and admiration for Don Muraco, and he could stand it no longer. And the Big Dust, the American Dream, now giving the Mongolian Stomper and Gary Hart their comeuppance. That big elbow again. The Stomper outside the ring. Cowboy Bill Watts is challenged for the Heavyweight Championship, and you see here Dusty Rhodes in the ring. Now Watts trying to get in, and Rhodes after him. You remember, this is one of Watts' tactics sometimes. He'll try and stop a man from getting into the ring. Rhodes ripping away at the forehead of a bandage that on the head of Cowboy Bill Watts. A previous wound, smashing him into the turnbuckle. So this championship match, the referee signifying just then, all right, let's wrestle. This championship match is on. The Florida Heavyweight Championship. Up for grabs here, and Dusty Rhodes partially stripping that turnbuckle that time, smashing Cowboy Bill Watts' head into it again. Now, Rhodes has it completely off, and that's an unguarded turnbuckle at this point, and Cowboy Bill Watts' head being repeatedly smashed into that unguarded turnbuckle. The referee with the count, Dusty Rhodes, wanting to settle the score and settle it in a hurry. Desirous of keeping that Florida Heavyweight Championship. Watts has been staggered, has never really gotten a head of steam going thus far in the match. A severe laceration on his head now. Watts now, no question about it, he's a great athlete. He'll give that 110%. Watts coming in with a chair. Dusty Rhodes ducks out of the way. Rhodes gets it away from Watts and catches Watts on the top of the head. He got a taste of his own medicine. And the American Dream on his feet now, those fists ready. Cowboy Bill Watts in trouble now as Dusty Rhodes continues to pound away at him. Watts, 290 pounds, dropped. Catches Rhodes in the midsection, fires back. And look at the tremendous power this Watts has got. Great beating that he's taken thus far, and he's still firing back. The controversial thumb to the throat of Dusty Rhodes. Watts hurtled into that turnbuckle. Here comes Rhodes. Watts ducks out of the way. Rhodes crashes into the turnbuckle. Watts now delivers a boot to the midsection. Watts is an opportunist, and he's the first one to admit it. Gary Hart outside the ring. He's the one who cost Cowboy Bill Watts the World Heavyweight Championship. There's Hart now, unasked for by Cowboy Bill Watts completely, but there's Dusty Rhodes after him, and Rhodes has a thing against Gary Hart. He wants Gary Hart anywhere he can get him. He has repeatedly challenged Gary Hart, and Gary Hart has avoided the challenge, and Watts tripped up that time, and here comes Gary Hart again. Rhodes has said many times the man he wants most is Gary Hart. He's got Watts had a foot on a rope. There goes Rhodes after Gary Hart again. And he's caught up with him this time outside the ring. Watts, of course, is his own man, an island unto himself. He's not a member of anybody's movement or army. Here's Watts resorting to a football tactic here, drives Rhodes outside. Rhodes crashes into the steel bar outside, injuring his leg, or his back, rather. The count is on. Dusty Rhodes still outside. Gary Hart dazed and battered. Cowboy Bill Watts, and there goes Rhodes taking another shot after Gary Hart. They've called for the bell. They've called for the bell as Dusty Rhodes, in his preoccupation with Gary Hart, has lost the Florida Heavyweight Championship. Dusty Rhodes has lost it. He was after Gary Hart, and the title slipped away as he was outside the ring too long. And so there you see, and now it's suddenly dawning on Rhodes what's happened to him. He has lost the title, and there's the new Florida champion, Cowboy Bill Watts.
Show. I mean, the names and personalities in that first match, it's going to be tough to get better, but trust me, it's going to get better. And in this next match, we've got a classic event with Joe LeDuc and Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream. The Canadian Freight Train and the American Dream team up to wrestle Pak Song, the man that could break rocks with his bare hands. I mean, he was unbelievable. I saw him outside the Sportatorium in Tampa pick up pieces of concrete, bring them in because he didn't speak English. And when Gary Hart was doing the interviews talking about him, Pak Song would take those rocks in his bare hand. No bogus rocks, no baking this, no doing that, and pound the rock until they would shatter on the floor. It was unbelievable. And at this point in time, Pak Song had a very classic partner in Mr. Uganda. And later on in this show, there's going to be a match that Mr. Uganda is wrestling without his mask on. So for you history buffs, for you guys that like to know what was happening and who was who, you watch this show, and toward the end of it, you're going to see who Mr. Uganda was. But right now, let's go back to 1975. Dusty Rhodes, Joe LeDuc against Pak Song and Mr. Uganda.
The Florida Tag Team Championship on the line here. Joe LeDuc and Dusty Rhodes. And Joe, of course, you're moving very, very effectively now against Mr. Uganda. Pak Song comes in. Now we got all four of you in the ring. Dusty, you got Uganda, and Joe LeDuc has a Pak Song. Sonny King on the outside of the ring. Both men hurtled into each other, and Uganda staggered, and Dusty, you catch him. Real short chopping punch. It puts him back on the canvas. And the freight train, Joe LeDuc, you're in tremendous shape against Pak Song. Pak Song driven back to the canvas, and again, Sonny King pacing back and forth. Pacing and watching. Some double teaming here on Uganda, and Sonny King has problems with his Florida Tag Team Champions. And that appeared to be very definitely, Joe, a karate thrust to the throat. The referee checking those shoulders. You get them off once again. No count of 3. And now Dusty Rhodes watching very, very carefully on the outside. And cheering you on, Joe, trying to bring some added impetus to the situation right now. Pak Song chops away, and again, Joe, you've taken a tremendous bounding. Now the referee doing what he feels is right. Of course, Dusty, I can see what you're talking about. It definitely was a karate thrust to the throat, or it certainly appeared to be. Double chops to the side of the head now. Again, Joe, you're caught in the throat. Pak Song moving in now, more confident than he had been earlier in the match. And Joe, you're trying to move away from him. You catch him with a tremendous forearm. Make the tag with Stardust. Stardust in the ring. Using that elbow and those fists very effectively now. Pak Song back on the canvas. Now Uganda comes in. Dusty, you knock him through the ropes. There's Sonny King offering assistance to him. You have Pak Song back on the canvas once again. Now Sonny King reaches over. Uganda comes into the ring. And, of course, he's immediately dispatched by you, Dusty, and you're back after Pak Song once again. So you've had repeated interference during this match, not only from Sonny King, but from both Pak Song and Mr. Uganda. Brought up a full slam. Now you're tripped up by Uganda. And, of course, there you go outside the ring. You've had enough of Uganda's interference. You begin to pound away at him, and now after that mask, getting him down on the floor outside the ring. Of course, the count is on. The count is on all during this time. And, Dusty, this is the thing that is costing right here. Now you have the mask off of Mr. Uganda. You have the mask, and Sonny King very quickly rips off his shirt, takes it, and puts it over the head of Mr. Uganda. The situation, obviously, Dusty, with you and Joe LeDuc, is long from being over with the team of Pak Song and Mr. Uganda.
And the list goes on. I'm telling you, this is a non-stop action-packed series this time. In the background, as you listen to these matches, most of them are being hosted by none other than the legendary Gordon Solie, the dean of professional wrestling. In this next match, when it comes up, you're going to see Dick Slater, Dirty Dick Slater, and Bob Roop. One of the greatest tag teams ever. Bob Roop went on to be manager. He hosted different television shows. I mean, he had a tremendous career. He wrestled in the Olympics for the United States. He did everything in wrestling you could really do. So him and Dick Slater, the badass from Tampa, Florida, he beat up Sting and the Ultimate Warrior at the same time. He was the king. Dickie still lives, as a matter of fact, just across this waterway. He lives over on the other side. These are my corporate offices here, of which, being in Florida, I love the outdoors. I love what Florida is all about. So we try to bring you stuff that shows Florida. If you're up in the cold north or wherever, it shows you life in Florida. This is the way it is. This is where I like working from. But anyway, you're going to see Dick Slater and Bob Roop wrestling against a very wily, very well-known veteran and killer, Karl Cox, and a young man coming along in the name of Jimmy Garvin. Jimmy Garvin, in years later, was one of the Freebirds with Michael Hayes and Terry Gordy. So anyway, the names that are on here from back in the 70s escalated into the 80s and superstars, and you're going to see them all in different phases and entities. In this one, you've got Karl Cox and Jimmy Garvin narrating this match with Gordon Solie. So let's take a look right now at some classic tag team action.
The U.S. Tag Team Championship, of course, up for grabs. Dick Slater holding one belt and Killer Karl Cox holding the other. You chose Jim Garvin to be your partner, and Mr. Slater chose Bob Roop. And, of course, we see Bob Roop in there being backdropped right now by Jim Garvin. And, well, Karl, right at this point, things are looking rather good.
Rather good. I think I chose a very good partner when I took Jim Garvin. And you can see I like the way he moves. I like his style, and he's a tough, young, upcoming wrestler. I think someday Jim Garvin is going to do himself a world of good in professional wrestling. He may go all the way to the top. And he's got both these guys rocking at the moment. I'm just on the outside, just directing. You can see I really didn't have much to do there at that time. Now here, see, look at here. Now look, here goes Jimmy again. He's got him going again. And this, I must add, Gordon, was probably one of the most sensational tag team matches that I have ever been in. And you know I have been in quite a few.
Well, you have indeed. The All-American back jumper, Bob Roop, now edging along the ropes, makes the tag with Dick Slater. And Slater getting set to move back into the ring. And obviously, Jimmy, you've taken your toll on Mr. Roop, but you're facing a fresh opponent now in Dick Slater.
Well, Gordon, at this point, I figure it's too late to turn back now, and I just have to go at it and meet him head on and give him everything I got at the time. And Slater and Roop, everybody knows of their reputation, but when you're in the heat of battle, it's completely besides the point.
Good duck under into a flying drop kick, has Slater on the canvas once again, and Garvin closes in very quickly, puts the boots to Slater. Slater outside the ring, and Karl, it obviously is getting to a point here where it is necessary for you to move into the ring.
I want to get in there bad, and I got in there, and of course, I don't think they want to be in there very bad. They were looking for a way to get out, and I was looking for a way to get in. So when I got in there, they were in there, and we just hit like two bulls here. I know Bob Roop for quite a while. I really respect his reputation. I think Bob Roop and Dick Slater are a fantastic team. After all, Bob Roop, all-Army, represent the United States in the Olympics. I just have a lot of admiration for the man.
Well, it's understandable. He's a superior athlete, no question about it. Jimmy Garvin getting set, makes the tag. You were stunned, and Garvin go ahead and forces the tag situation into a rolling reverse.
Well, this boy never stops. He never stops. He's giving it 110%. All the time, even when he's hurt. You'll see a little bit here, right, coming up here now. He gets hurt right here.
Jim, at that point, he deflected your legs, and of course, that threw you right down to the back of your head and the back of your neck.
I seen stars, Gordon. It was just a momentarily blackout kind of in my mind, because I guess in a sense it almost knocked me out the way I landed, and well, as you see, from there on, things get pretty rough.
They do indeed. Dick Slater, of course, taking every advantage possible now, and that's the thing about Slater, is he is a total opportunist, no question here. And Slater again trying to do more damage, and Karl, you're obviously very worried.
I'm very worried at the time. Also, I'd like to add that I think Sonny Myers did a fantastic job of refereeing this match and handling the match. He kept it under control pretty well. And yes, I am worried here at the moment because Jimmy is getting to the point where he doesn't know where he's at or what he's even doing at the time. He's just purely going on instinct, I figure here. And they're just taking their time and working. But what a good team would do, they just breaking him down. They just start at the top and just coming right down to the bottom, just breaking him down, move for move. Here Dick Slater comes off the top there and catch Jimmy behind the neck. That just knocked all the starch right out of him. And I'm pleading with Alex to try to get Sonny Myers to stop the match at this time. And Sonny Myers said, I can't stop it until the man asked me to stop it. I said, well, I'm telling you to stop it. You see right here. Because I know I'm trying to save the boy from getting hurt very seriously and possibly ending his career right here at the moment. But in the heat of battle, in the heat of this match, we had Sonny Myers just turning to me at the moment. He says, I can't stop it at the moment. So I start taking matters in my own hand here, and I figured I had to because I didn't want to see him get hurt very bad. Because I know what's going on because I'm from the old school, and I've done a lot of this myself. I've tortured guys before, and I know what they're doing. I can see, and I can just look at Jimmy Garvin's eyes and tell he's in very bad shape. And you'll see here in the moment coming up here what I do. I had to do it.
That's an understandable situation. Jimmy, I want to ask you a question, though, because here, obviously, you're hurt. You're almost in a senseless condition. Bob Roop pressing that advantage. And yet, Jimmy, several times here, you were virtually pinned again at this point. What caused you to do that?
I don't know, Gordon. To this moment right now, I don't know, except I could just hear the count, and I had to come out somehow, and I really don't know, Gordon.
This is where I take matters in my own hand here, Gordon. I'm looking for something to throw in the ring. I had no towel. I asked Sonny Myers. Alex told me, get something, throw it in the ring to stop the match. That's, in any sport, that is a signal that that we quit. We're giving. I'm trying to save this guy all kinds of punishment. Now Dick Slater grabs it at the moment, throws it out of the ring. And this is what really keyed me off right here. And I take off after Slater. And I understand after viewing these films that Sonny Myers did not see that. Right. He did not see that I threw the thing in the ring there. See, so he doesn't know what's going on, and he figured the match is still going on. See. And then Bob Roop sees what I'm doing, and he comes over, and the two of them together throw me over the top rope, which Sonny Myers saw, and he rightfully stopped the match to disqualify these guys.
And, of course, awarded you two the U.S. Tag Team Championships because of the unusual nature of this situation of each of you and Dick Slater holding one of the belts. And so now we have new U.S. Tag Team Champions.
Man, Dusty Rhodes was always ahead of his time. He was always creative. He always named different events. He always saw wrestling differently than everyone else. He was probably the single most driving force in leading to pay-per-views and all those big events. I mean, he had Last Tango in Tampa, the only wrestling event in the old Tampa Stadium. He and Harley Race wrestled for the world's title. I wrestled for the world's light heavyweight title against Les Thornton and a lot of other guys. There was more than 25,000 people in Tampa Stadium for that one event. But that was just the tip of the iceberg with Dusty Rhodes. Dusty was one of the first people to do videos, to put music, to tell a wrestling story with a music video. And he had some classic battles with Sir Oliver Humperdinck, one of the greatest managers of all time. Managed Ivan Koloff for a while. And in Lakeland, Florida, with Bubba Douglas, the late Bubba Douglas, the honorary mayor of Lakeland as the referee. Dirty Dick Murdoch was in this video you're going to see. Dusty wrestles Ivan Koloff for, at that particular time, it was, I believe, the Southern Heavyweight title. If Koloff beat Dusty, he got the title. But if Dusty beat Koloff, he got Humperdinck's personal services for 30 days. And they put it to a music video. You got to watch this. Watch 30 Days in the Hole, Dusty and Ivan Koloff.
This was it, of course, Dusty at the bell. It was now Sir Oliver Humperdinck being warned by Bubba Douglas, rather, to stand clear of the situation, not to interfere in the match in any way, shape, form, or manner. And you can see the irate attitude of one Sir Oliver Humperdinck. But a lot at stake here. Your hair, Dusty, against the services of Sir Oliver Humperdinck. Bubba Douglas watching, and now Ivan Koloff off that second rope, crashes down on his knee. And you see the frustration, and again, Koloff again tries to come off that second rope, and again, you move out of the way. And so Koloff has been trying desperately. He is under direct orders, obviously, from Sir Oliver Humperdinck, an all-important night. And now, Sir Humperdinck outside agitating. You start to stalk him. Now, deep into the match, it is Ivan Koloff apparently beginning to catch some momentum here. And Koloff again moves up to that rope, but this time, Dusty, good second effort here. The adrenaline is flowing. You body slam him halfway across the ring. You catch Sir Oliver Humperdinck, who's up there on the ring apron once again. Now you charge. Koloff jumps out of the way. You hit Bubba Douglas. Douglas outside of the ring. And here's where disaster almost took over, Dusty. You have Koloff in a lot of problems here. Koloff firing back futilely to the midsection. You bring him up once again, a full body slam. You bring that bionic elbow down across his chest, and now Dick Slater, unbeknownst to you, climbing up to that top rope, catches you on the base of the skull, rolls completely out of the ring, ducks out of the way. Bubba Douglas out of sight at this time, knocked outside the ring. Ivan Koloff with one arm across you, which could constitute a pin. But the crowd, of course, shouting about Slater and Douglas, looking around, realizing that something was amiss. Something happened while he was outside the ring. And it is Slater who is decided as the culprit in this particular instance. And so now, Bubba Douglas explaining to Koloff that he is not in fact the winner. And as he's trying to explain, Dusty, you moved up, grabbed the man, caught him to an inside cradle, scored the pinfall, got that fatal count of 3, and you can see the look of horror and dejection crossing the face of Sir Oliver Humperdinck. But you've done it, you've kept your hair, and you've won the services of Sir Oliver Humperdinck for a period of 30 days. Humperdinck protesting now, vigorously protesting, but to no avail whatsoever. And then the outlaw, Dick Murdoch, moves into the ring. Koloff still protesting, but still to no avail because it is Sir Oliver Humperdinck who must now spend the 30 days. And now, Dusty, you're getting some well-needed justice and some well-needed vengeance right here. Murdoch standing guard, and again, Sir Oliver Humperdinck, the man, the evil genius who has had this Russian connection going of Ivan Koloff and Nikolai Volkov, is now without a troop and must now be your personal valet for a period of 30 days. And now you're, of course, instructing him to remove your wrestling boots. And you can see a completely horrified, a dejected, dismayed, disheartened Sir Oliver Humperdinck, who is suddenly, his kingdom is gone. He's lost it all. And he is completely at your indebtedness for the next 30 days. Dusty Rhodes having his hand waved and raised in victory. Sir Oliver Humperdinck in a role that he is totally unused to, having to perform all of the menial services that you request at any time. And now, Dusty Rhodes, you are who can say better, a well-deserved victor in this match that almost had a disastrous ending. But now, it is Sir Oliver Humperdinck, indeed, beginning his 30 days in the hole of servitude to one Dusty Rhodes. It's kind of a catchy tune. I don't know if Dusty used that because he liked the music or whatever, but it did work well. And when we aired that video on TV, people went crazy. We got more letters and calls than of anything we had done before that. But in that match, you saw Bubba Douglas as a referee. Well, Bubba was a very, very well-known professional wrestler. And in this next clip, you're going to see probably the biggest name in the black professional wrestling world in Bobo Brazil. Bobo Brazil and Bubba Douglas as his teammate, wrestling against a very tough team back in the 70s called the Masked Assassins. Let's take a look at this. You're going to enjoy it. Bobo Brazil and Bubba Douglas going up against the Masked Assassins, and neither of the Assassins very anxious to get into the ring against Bobo Brazil. Now they're both in the ring at the same time. Bobo Brazil, well over 6 feet 6 inches tall, over 300 pounds, a magnificent specimen of a man. Now you see all four of them in the ring at one time, and Douglas and Brazil dispatching the Assassins very quickly. Bobo Brazil offering more punishment. Good teamwork between him and Bubba Douglas. Bobo Brazil with a good high knee lift, and the Assassin once again leaves the ring in quick order. The tag is made. Bubba Douglas moves back in. Bobo Brazil outside the ring. It's Douglas with a hip lock takedown. Again, the tag is made, and it is Bobo Brazil catching the Assassins on both sides. The chop across the throat. The second Assassin moves in. Bobo Brazil catches him, and Bobo Brazil, unmindful of the number of opponents he's facing at one time, dispatches them quickly and efficiently. And now it's Brazil after the mask as Bubba Douglas keeps the other Assassin occupied. Whenever you see the opportunity to see this man, Bobo Brazil, he is truly a legend in his own time, scoring the pinfall.
Bayfront Center, St. Petersburg, Florida, the mecca of professional wrestling in the southern United States back in the 70s and 80s. We're going to go back now to 1976. Steve Kern was the Florida champion. Again, Pac Song, I mean, he was the man. He broke Steve's leg. Steve had to give up the title, so they had a one-night tournament at the Bayfront Center for the Florida title. And in that tournament, you're going to see the final two matches, and that's Dusty Rhodes wrestling against the Missouri Mauler, who, I mean, his knuckles were hard. He would hit you in the head, in the nose, in the mouth. He would just battle you all night long. When I used to get my bookings and see I was against the Mauler, I'd go, oh my God, I'm in for an ass kicking again. But Dusty and the Mauler had some incredible battles. Not classic wrestling matches, but I mean fist fights, just good old Southern style fist fights. And then to go from the Mauler straight into Bob Roop, who Bob Roop was a great amateur wrestler who had a lot of skills. Dusty had no rest in between these matches. And then in this, of course, you're going to see Steve Kern, you're going to see Killer Karl Cox. Frenchie Bernard is the referee. Frenchie was Andre the Giant's personal friend and personal manager, you might say. Frenchie moved to the castle that the Giant built before he passed away, and the Giant left his Giant house to Frenchie. So anyway, let's go back to the Bayfront Center in 1976 and watch this one-night tournament for the Florida title.
This is the semifinal match now of the Florida Heavyweight Championship Tournament, and it's boiled now down to the Missouri Mauler and Dusty Rhodes. And the Mauler now pressing his advantage over Dusty Rhodes. Dusty Rhodes, who's been battling long and hard, trying to gain the Florida Heavyweight Championship that was vacated by Steve Kern due to Steve Kern's injury. And Steve Kern, of course, is on hand here before a capacity crowd at the Bayfront Center with the Florida Heavyweight Championship belt, ready to present it to the winner. Rhodes ducks under a wild right hand by the Missouri Mauler. Rhodes catches him with an elbow, catches him once again. Rhodes in an inverted press. The count of three. Dusty Rhodes has now moved into the finals. Dusty Rhodes has now moved into the finals. But the matches this night have taken their toll on Dusty Rhodes, and now the Missouri Mauler, frustrated because of his loss, closes in on Dusty Rhodes, putting the Missouri boots to him. And now you see the finalist, along with Dusty Rhodes, the other finalist, Bob Roop, the former Olympian, wrestled in the 1968 Olympics, now moving in, and the Mauler moving outside the ring now. Dusty Rhodes having his hand raised in victory, but Dusty Rhodes has been badly battered by his opponents. The Missouri Mauler now leaving the ring after those cheap shots after the bell had rung. And now it's Bob Roop, who bills himself as the All-American, charges Dusty Rhodes, and it is Rhodes ducking out of the way. Roop catches that ring post. Rhodes now crashes down with an elbow. Roop rolls out of the way once again. These are the finals. The final match. The winner of this match will be the Florida Heavyweight Champion. Rhodes caught with a neck breaker. Rhodes caught with a neck breaker by Bob now into the lateral press. Rhodes powers out just before the count of three. Rhodes gamely getting back to his feet now. Stardust himself caught again, broke up the neck breaker. Very nice move by Rhodes. He broke up the neck breaker, came down with that bionic elbow. Here you see the Missouri Mauler charging in there once again, interfering in the match. There must be a winner, however. This is a one-night tournament to decide the Florida Heavyweight Champion. Now watch this. Bob Roop catches Dusty Rhodes. The Mauler squares off. Rhodes ducks out of the way. It is Roop who is caught. Dusty Rhodes pins those shoulders for a count of three, and Dusty Rhodes has won the Florida Heavyweight Wrestling Championship. A very disgruntled, unhappy Bob Roop. And now let's listen to these words from the vacating champion, Steve Kern.
know what I'm talking about. And from this day on, the Florida heavyweight title belongs to two men, Steve Kern and Dusty Rhodes. And it's going to take all of what Sonny King got and all of what everybody got to get it from my big woman ass baby.
Dusty Rhodes, the new Florida heavyweight champion.
1975, the American Dream Tour was live and in color, baby. If the American Dream was here, that's what he'd be saying. While he was up front cooking and smoking, everybody else was in the back laughing and joking. So the American Dream was in control of Florida. He had it going on. Well, him and Joe LeDuc, earlier in the show you saw a match with them. They had battles and stuff with all the teams, but in this particular one, it's against Pak Song and Mr. Uganda again, but there's a little turn. You've got Sonny King out there getting involved, and you have the original Rock, the original Rocky Johnson, father of the Rock today, in this match. Let's watch the original Rocky Johnson with the American Dream, with a freight train, with Pak Song Nam, with Mr. Uganda, and a host of others, dancing bears, naked women, everything. Let's watch this match.
Dusty Rhodes and Joe LeDuc going after Pak Song and Mr. Uganda for the Florida Tag Team Championship. Rhodes having made a tag. The referee did not see it. The referee did not see the tag. Rhodes being told to go back out, and in quite a discussion with the referee, Joe LeDuc hurdled through the middle ring rope by Pak Song, and now Dusty Rhodes in there. Joe LeDuc outside the ring. Watch Sonny King coming around, getting in some cheap shots now at Joe LeDuc, running his head into the steel ring post. Now Dusty Rhodes back outside, trying to check on Joe LeDuc. Pak Song still in the ring. Mr. Uganda on the sidelines waiting. The Florida Tag Team Championship on the line. One fall, a 60-minute time limit in the closing minutes of this match. Joe LeDuc moves back into the ring. LeDuc caught on the head. LeDuc ducks underneath. There he goes into that one-arm backbreaker, but it caught the referee. The referee knocked down by Pak Song's leg, and now here you see Sonny King charging into the ring, interfering in the match, catching Joe LeDuc at the base of the spine. Sonny King moving around, catching LeDuc once again on the base of the spine, the base of the skull rather, catches him on the shoulder. Pak Song down long, plenty long enough for a count, but the referee out. Now Rocky Johnson running Sonny King out of there. And now Rocky Johnson after Pak Song. Pak Song catches him. Now Dusty Rhodes imprisons the arms of Pak Song and Rocky Johnson. Let's fly with some wild right hands. The referee, seeing this, calls for the bell for outside interference. So Pak Song and Uganda have retained the Florida Tag Team Championship via disqualification. Via disqualification, but the battle is not yet over.
Another Dusty Rhodes production. Like I said earlier, Dusty was very creative. He liked naming things. We, in the 80s, especially 1980, last Tango in Tampa at the Tampa Stadium, we did a hot August night in Key West. Wildest thing I've ever seen in my life. I mean, people were hanging out the fences. They had traffic jams. It was, well, Key West, they didn't really have sporting events. They don't have a football team or a professional basketball team or hockey or anything. And when Channel 17 started airing in Key West, carrying the wrestling show, then wrestling became the sport of Key West. And when we went down there, it was a party and stuff that you wouldn't believe. The front page of the Key West newspaper after we wrestled said, Dan rather in Key West, but Key West rather be at wrestling. I mean, it was unreal. And in that, we have some video of wrestling fans, of the classic Bugsy McGraw, of Dusty, of Steve Kern doing personal appearances, and the way we used to promote different events, and the way we would go into certain areas the day ahead of time and sign autographs and let the community know that the wrestlers were part of their community. We were there to entertain, to wrestle, to give them something that nobody else was doing. So right now, let's go to a lot of different film clips from a hot August night, live and in Key West, 1980.
time for Booth. We're getting ready to go here pretty quick, and I would just like to say, as long as every one of us here has a love for each other, this country and everybody in this country will remain free, and this will be a free place to live. Love is what it's all about, and just because you may not be like somebody else, that doesn't make you less a man or a woman, and we have love together, and that's what makes all this possible. Thank you very much for inviting all of us to here today.
Why do you like Championship Wrestling 80 the best?
Dusty Rhodes.
Dusty Rhodes is your favorite wrestler? Why is that?
Just like you!
Gordon Sully! Gordon Sully's your favorite on the show?
Man! I like the Steve Carr poem.
Who else are your favorite wrestlers?
Dusty Rhodes!
What do you like about Dusty?
Yeah, he's the man of the hour, the man with the power.
What do you like best about Championship Wrestling 80 coming to your area?
I love it. I love it.
Who's your favorite wrestler?
Dusty Rhodes.
Why do you like Dusty better than anyone else?
He's a hunk.
Dusty's a hunk.
Yeah.
What do you like about TV wrestling?
I love it.
You love it? Do you like any particular thing about it?
The men.
The men. Very good. Thank you.
These people appreciate it. And I appreciate it too if they give it to me.
Hot August night in Key West to a ladies tag team wrestling match at the Bayfront Center. I'm telling you, we got more stuff. Right now you're going to see Judy Martin and Lonnie Kai, the first WrestleMania. Lonnie Kai was the women's world champion and lost her title to Wendy Richter. All part of the different stuff was Cyndi Lauper and all that jazz, but this was before all that. This was when Lonnie was fighting her way up, you know, earning her way into professional wrestling, and they're wrestling against Vicki Williams and Joyce Grable, two veteran lady wrestlers that were very tough. I'm telling you, they were tough. So let's go right now back to the Bayfront Center and this great tag team action.
And this is a Women's World Tag Team Championship match. Judy Martin being caught now makes her tag up with Lonnie Kai. Vicki Williams and Joyce Grable going after the World Women's Tag Team Championship. Tag is made. Here you see double teaming by Vicki Williams and Joyce Grable. They have taken a lot of abuse so far in this match. Watching very carefully now as the action continues in the ring. Judy Martin once again in the ring. Joyce Grable finally breaks that hold. Tries to make the tag, but Vicki Williams unable to do so. Don Solano, the referee, watching very carefully. Good takedown. Leilani Kai caught. Vicki Williams catches her. Good flying drop kick. Catches her again, and now the tempers are really beginning to flare. Williams and Grable out to gain those titles if they can. Leilani Kai caught once again. A good, beautiful flying drop kick. Puts Judy Martin back to the canvas once again. Her down. Vicki Williams catches her. Good high knee lift once again. Now Joyce Grable back into the ring. And Judy Martin finally leaves the ring. Here's where Martin and Leilani Kai get themselves upended by these two young ladies in blue who won the Women's World Tag Team Championship. Both of them missing with flying drop kicks that time. Leilani Kai now. Williams up and over, rolling reverse into a cradle. And there you see two very jubilant young ladies, the young ladies in blue, winning the Women's World Tag Team Championship. An outstanding victory before a capacity crowd at the Bayfront Center in St. Petersburg. These young ladies are happy champions indeed.
Back in 1975, Harley Race stayed here in Florida and wrestled for a long time. Dirty Dick Murdoch, I mean, the man. Dick Murdoch and Dusty Rhodes came to Florida in 1970 as the Texas Outlaws, and brother, they were. There was nothing they wouldn't do. They were a wild and crazy pair. Well, you're going to see a incredible match featuring Dick Murdoch and Harley Race, and the commentaries by Gordon Soley and Harley Race. And I mean, this is a battle the way battles used to be. I mean, they're bleeding and fighting and scraping, and it's just a classic match from the 70s. Dick Murdoch, Harley Race. You watch it, you state your own opinion.
There you have it, the wild man from Texas, Dick Murdoch, being caught by a shoulder smash, but catches you, Mr. Race, way up in the air, a full body slam that jars your entire system, and he's ready.
That's right, it does, Gordon, but I want to show you something. This is how and why I'm where I'm at in time today. I can take anything that any of these people can dish out. Look how strong this guy is. There it is again, straight down on my back. The ordinary man off the street would just totally annihilate him all in one move.
There's Murdoch with a side headlock on you. One must admit you do have tremendous recuperative powers and an excellent move there that has Dick Murdoch in trouble. And there's that controversial dive, but he rolled out of the way just in time.
There's no controversy about that. Anyone with a head as thick and hard as mine ought to be able to use it any way a doll that he wants to, because it's part of my anatomy. It's not something that has been put in there. I was gifted with it, so why not use it?
Well, one has to admit you have a point there, Mr. Race, driving a knee across the head of Dick Murdoch now, and Murdoch.
You know, Murdoch's run roughshod around here. Him, Rhodes, the Funks, all of them. All these big so-called tough Texans. There's the hard head, Gordon.
Well, he crashed right down on his forehead that time, and crashing down again. And
there it is again. You'll see the man in a few seconds. Like I was saying, all these big tough people, they keep sending them in here trying to beat me. And you'll see just how much I can take and what I'll do and how far I will go if I've got to go. And guaranteed fact that there's not a man in wrestling today that'll beat me.
Well, I'll say one thing about Murdoch. He's taken a tremendous amount of punishment, but he's back on his feet. And he's delivering punishment back to you right now, Mr. Race.
Certainly is. Certainly is. But again, there was about 5-6 punches that were totally illegal. And you see, I have not been off my feet yet.
Full arm drag and whip, and Murdoch catches you beautifully. And that would have felled an ox.
There was a very, very well executed elbow.
But again, look at the recuperative power, Gordon. That's what it takes. It takes that staying power. And a lot of these young punks that come up in the wrestling business in the last few years are great. A lot of them are great amateurs, great amateur background. But that staying power, that what it takes to stay there until that last bell rings is what it's all about.
Good move by Murdoch that time, which upended you again. Murdoch rushing in. You ducked to the side just in time. And this, of course, could spell the difference in this match. Murdoch crashing outside the ring, hurtled through those ropes by his own forward momentum.
Now tell me how much strength it would take to pick 280 pounds up from this position.
No question about this. It's a play that has Murdoch down on the canvas.
That's it. Once I come off of that thing with that head, that is the coup de grace.
And so Dick Murdoch is defeated.
This next match is really brings back a lot of memories for me. When I was in high school, my dad went up to Oklahoma, and Bill Watts was up there promoting at the time, and not really promoting, but getting involved in wrestling. And Dad used to go to all the Olympic, college, nationals, and all that kind of stuff. And anyway, he found this young man that was just getting started in professional wrestling and brought him to Florida. This was 1968 or 69. Well, the young guy that he found was Jack Brisco. Jack was my coach when I was in high school, and my father was basically his coach for professional wrestling. Jack never lost a match as an amateur. From the time he started wrestling amateur to the time he graduated as Big 8 national champion from Oklahoma 2 different times, he never got beat. So his wrestling career was just incredible. And then, of course, he, at the time of this match you're going to see, is the world's heavyweight champion. He's wrestling against another legend, Johnny Valentine. My God. I mean, the battles that Valentine had were endless. And at the time, he was the U.S. champion. So now you've got the U.S. champion and the world's heavyweight champion battling each other for the world's title. The referee for this match is Corsica Gene. The first match I ever had as a professional wrestler, I wrestled against Corsica Gene. He was later murdered in his business. And anyway, there's a lot of history when I go back and I watch these shows. And of course, everyone knows Johnny Valentine's back was broken in a plane accident up in Carolina, and that ended his wrestling career. But just when I look at the names and I look at the people, it just brings back so much of my life. But anyway, I want to share this with you. It's a classic match. Let's see these guys go at it.
Johnny Valentine, U.S. heavyweight champion, has the world heavyweight champion Jack Brisco into those ring ropes. Brisco back on his feet now, and they're locked in. Deep into this match, and both men beginning to show fatigue from the grueling pace that has been set. Watch Valentine now pressing in, using every advantage possible of his 270 pounds. Forearm smash across the biceps of Jack Brisco. Valentine again closing in. A superbly muscled man in great condition. Valentine seeking that World Heavyweight Championship. Look at this unusual configuration driving Brisco's head down. Brisco again gets him into the near turnbuckle now. The referee calling for the break. And again, Valentine using that arm like a sledgehammer. Brisco in a lot of trouble here. Good hook by Brisco. Took Valentine down. Valentine back on his feet. Those deltoid muscles in the upper shoulder now taking a tremendous amount of punishment. Now watch Brisco. Able to move his way partially out of it, but now in a bad posture. Brisco finally extricates himself and now crashes down on the leg of Johnny Valentine. Valentine back on his feet. Both men have amazing recuperative powers. Forearm smash across the chest of Jack Brisco. The referee again warning the men to separate. Both men very strong, very agile. Valentine more of a power wrestler. He'll use that awesome power to his own advantage at all times. Forearm smash by Brisco that set Valentine back just momentarily. Another one that rocks Valentine, but only slightly. Another one that rocks Valentine back. Brisco outside that ring, and Valentine smashing across the chest of Jack Brisco. Creates That's a numbing sensation throughout the entire chest area. Valentine powers away again, and Brisco powers back. Brisco catches him in the midsection once again. Brisco again to the midsection, and now drives the challenger to the canvas, and Valentine, face stunned, caught now in a full body slam, and Valentine beginning to realize the trouble he's in with this champion. In desperation, wriggles out of the way, caught in another full body slam, and now Jack Brisco moves in again with that figure four, and again, Valentine gets to those ring ropes, and forearm smashes, a good snap mirror, has Valentine down again. Brisco driving that knee into the throat. Valentine back on his feet. Full body slam on the world champion. Reverse body press. Brisco able to roll that right shoulder off. Brisco catches the challenger. A good flying drop kick and moves in with the figure four. Moves in with that figure four. But Valentine fights off that excruciating pain. Manages to get to those ring ropes where the referee forces the break. Jack Brisco now concentrating on that already injured leg. Hooks Valentine, a rolling reverse cradle. And a count of three, and Jack Brisco, the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, successfully retains his title in a real tough and tight battle with Johnny Valentine, the U.S. Champion.
Killer Karl Roop had a short, violent, very well-known career in the wrestling industry. And he at the time was a Southern champion, and there was another guy that, man, had fists as fast as lightning, that was just a really, really tough, well-known competitor, and Cyclone Negro. I want you to watch this match, because earlier in the show we talked about a couple things, and I'm going to remind you of something. But right now, let's go and watch the blood and the thunder from 1974, fighting when wrestling was real and fighting was it, and you came back and your knuckles were bruised and you had lumps and crap all over you, when every night you went to work, you felt good when you could walk back to the dressing room under your own power. Let's go to 1974 and watch these guys duke it out.
Cyclone Negro beating his head against that steel ring post outside the ring. Getting set to move back into the ring against the Southern Heavyweight Champion, Killer Karl Roop. This is a no disqualification match, and Roop and Negro have been going after it hammer and tong now. We're deep into the match. Roop trying to get that iron claw on Negro. Negro breaking it up. The referee trying to separate them now. Tremendous animosity, deep hatred between these two men. Negro has stated that Roop stands for everything that he absolutely abhors in life. Negro pulling up again, setting to move in. Again, Roop drives those feet into the midsection of Negro. Negro with a headbutt on Killer Karl Roop, and Roop backs off. Another headbutt that drives Roop to the canvas and outside the ring. And Killer Karl Roop, the Southern champion, outside the ring. Now Roop being rammed into that steel ring post and coming in. Roop coming to his feet very slowly, the referee watching. Negro moving on his man slowly now, stalking him. Caught in the midsection, and caught in the midsection again by Roop. Negro pounding away with the right hand. Those blows glancing off the top of his head, and now the referee hurled to one side in this no disqualification match. And again, Negro pounding away. Again, the referee moves in, trying to separate these two. And this time it's Negro powering the referee away, the referee down outside the ring. Both of these men continue to battle. They could care less whether a referee is there or not. Roop pounds the midsection with a boot. And now, with no referee, now the referee getting back into the ring, asking for help from outside of the ring, because this match has obviously gone beyond the limits. It's gotten out of control, and more men continue to move into the ring to try and separate this and bring control back into the situation. But this battle between the Cyclone Negro and Killer Karl Roop is long from being over. But the match at this time had to be stopped because it was totally out of hand. And there you see the other men moving into the ring, separating these men. But the battle between Killer Karl Roop and Cyclone Negro will continue.
All right, now who out there was paying attention at what I was talking about earlier? Who was Mr. Uganda? Mr. Uganda was Cyclone Negro. So that's one of your little things that you'll see and learn. This is kind of the history wrestling channel, you might say, and there's a lot of interesting stuff that you'll learn. But this next match we've got coming up is a lumberjack match, and it puts Bob Roop against the original, the man, Rocky Johnson. And the guys around the ring, just look, if you're, depending on your age and how big of a fan and how far you go back, watch the faces and the guys around the ring of this lumberjack match, but see where The Rock today learned a lot of his stuff and got his size and got his personality. You can see his father wrestle and see a lot of it in the kid. So let's go right now to the main man, the first, Rocky Johnson.
There you see the Florida heavyweight champion Bob Roop backing away, a clean break. Rocky Johnson checking those lumberjacks out surrounding the ring. Roop offers to shake hands, lashes out with a foot. Johnson caught him, and Roop goes outside the ring. And there again you see the lumberjacks getting set now to place Roop back inside the ring. Killer Karl Roop, one of the men at one of the lumberjacks. Johnson back on his feet, and Roop back on his feet. Good flying drop kick by Rocky Johnson. Johnson into that little Johnson shuffle, and Roop getting up dazed and staggered falls backwards. His head hitting the turnbuckle outside. There's Cyclone Negro, another one of the lumberjacks. We saw them a little earlier in the battle that finally had to be stopped. Roop misses with a wild right, so does Johnson. Johnson up. Good flying drop kick. Closes in on his man. Front face lock. And Roop is back on his feet now, driving a knee into Rocky Johnson. Johnson outside the ring. There you see him now, the lumberjacks once again getting set to roll Rocky Johnson back inside. Roop closing in, forearm smashes to the back, a boot to the chest. All right, Johnson now coming back to his feet. Good high knee lift. Johnson caught again and almost dumped over that top rope. Roop really pounding away now. A good knee lift that time that throws Johnson over that top rope. Now watch carefully this time. There you see it. Actually what happened, Roop threw a punch at Johnson, Cyclone Negro, and angered by this, and of course he's already has a raging feud going with Roop, and now Negro and Roop into that ring. And now we have all four men in the ring here. Roop and Negro now being occupied with Johnson and Roop, and now it's Negro after Roop once again, and the referee now totally befuddled by what's going on here as he's got two wrestling matches happening. Roll up by Johnson into a good high bridge, and that's broken up again by Roop. Johnson caught and in a lot of trouble out there now. The referee did not see this, but he's got actually another match going on at the same time. Roop gets credit for the pinfall in this particular instance, but the battle between Negro and Roop continues, and now Negro headbutting Bob Roop. And as you see here, we've got complete chaos in the ring. Now Roop after Negro, so is Roop. Rocky Johnson recovers enough to get back in there. A wild right hand smashing on the head of Killer Karl Roop. Negro pounding away at Bob Roop, and Roop leaving to the far side of the ring, and you've got Roop outside the ring. And so there you have it. Bob Roop gets credit for the pinfall, but the battle between Negro and Roop rages on, and the one between Johnson and Roop is far from being over.
I don't know about you. I mean, I'm sweating just from watching all this stuff. And of course, it's 90 degrees out here in Florida, and the weather's beautiful, and I'm going to jump in my pool right behind the cameraman as soon as this is done because my workday's over. Anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this series of matches, and we're going to bring you new videos, new DVDs, new streaming internet sites, new everything every month. This is just the second of years and years and years of them to come. But right now, before it's all over, I don't want to say save the best for last or however that goes, because all this stuff is great. But you're going to see two big names, Pepper Gomez and the wild man from Borneo, Abdullah the Butcher. We're closing this show out with Abdullah, who can close any show like nobody else ever could. Let's watch Abdullah beat up Pepper Gomez right now.
This is the man that Buddy Cole says will be the next world heavyweight champion. Abdullah the Butcher, the wild man from the Sudan, up against the former Southern heavyweight champion Pepper Gomez, and Gomez, highly irate at the tactics of Abdullah the Butcher, moving in, smashing away. Whips him into that far turnbuckle. Abdullah hits it, falling backwards, and Pepper Gomez tries for a lateral body press, but Abdullah the Butcher rolls out of the ring. And this man seems like sometimes he's almost in a trance, and now Pepper Gomez smashing his head into that steel ring post. Gomez moving in again. Gomez, a great competitor. Probably one of the greatest wrestlers ever to come out of Mexico. Gomez giving away about 70 pounds here to Abdullah the Butcher. Abdullah the Butcher under Florida management, exclusively by Buddy Colt. Colt, who is still not able to wrestle as a result of the plane crash injuries, has moved back into professional wrestling as a manager. And Abdullah the Butcher, now in a lot of trouble out there, as Pepper Gomez is about to send Buddy Colt's dreams of a world championship crashing into a nightmare instead. Pepper Gomez pounding away again. Abdullah the Butcher has taken tremendous punishment from this man. He's still on his feet. Gomez still pounds away, and again Abdullah the Butcher outside the ring. Pepper Gomez after him. Pepper Gomez smashing his head on that steel guardrail around the outside of the ring. Back into the ring, and this man Abdullah the Butcher, after taking all of this punishment, still on his feet. Gomez whipping him into that turnbuckle. Gomez fires to the midsection. Abdullah the Butcher. And that time he steps out of the way as Gomez went for a flying drop kick, as Abdullah the Butcher stepping aside. An almost jungle-like instinct now as Abdullah the Butcher crashing down across the throat of Pepper Gomez. Has him in a lateral body press, and it is all over for Pepper Gomez. 307 pounds crashing down on the throat, and Abdullah the Butcher still not satisfied, wants more. And the winner, and Buddy Colt says the next world champion, there you see him, the wild man from the Sudan, Abdullah the Butcher.